Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Broncos. Welcome to this weird special free agent edition, and that's where I'm going to be talking about the big fucking elephant in the room, which is the Broncos have 19 free agents that could hit the market. What's the biggest area of concern for the Broncos? I believe it's at the tight end position, but we'll get into that later. That's Good Broncos. Right now, the Denver Broncos have 19 guys set to hit free agency. Here's a list of those brave and beautiful men, a title that will only stick with those who stay in Denver. Some of these names will look familiar, like Wes Welker, Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas, Brandon Marshall, Terrence Knighton. Some of the names might not look familiar, like John Ubooty, U-Body, and well, if you're a good Broncos fan, that should be the only name you don't really recognize. Look, the Denver Broncos have some serious work to do this offseason heading into free agency. Trying to orchestrate the fate of 19 players is not an insignificant task facing the Broncos front office. I think it's safe to say we can say goodbye to players like Wes Welker, Tony Carter, and Julius Thomas. The big question marks are guys like Terrence Knighton, Orlando Franklin, and Raheem Moore. Right now, it's really hard to predict what will happen with these guys, especially because who the Broncos retain really depends on which players want to stay, who John Elway likes in the upcoming draft, and which free agent targets the Broncos believe they can sign from other teams. Right now, I want to focus on one of two key areas the Broncos will be forced to address in both free agency and the draft. If we look at that list again, two things stick out to me as potential problem areas for the Broncos, and those are the tight end position and the linebacker position. Right now, we're going to take a look at tight ends. The Broncos have 3 tight ends that will be unrestricted free agents. If you don't know what that means, it's that an unrestricted free agent can basically do whatever the fuck they want once free agency begins. A restricted free agent does not have those same options. The Denver Broncos have the option to retain any restricted free agent by matching the offer that the restricted free agent may receive from another team. In order for the Broncos to keep an unrestricted free agent, they will likely have to outbid any other team interested in that particular player. So, with Jacob Tamme, Julius Thomas, and Virgil Green all set to be unrestricted free agents, the Broncos have a bit of a conundrum at the tight end position. They could potentially lose all 3 guys, which would leave them with Dominic Jones as their only tight end. If you don't know who that is, it's because he's racked up a total of 3 catches since entering the NFL in 2012. Last season, Jacob Tamme, due to his experience in the NFL, made more money than Julius Thomas and Virgil Green combined. He also did not have a great season for the Denver Broncos. His cumulative grade from ProFootballFocus.com was a negative 2.5 for the 2014 season. Now, this may sound a bit crazy, but moving forward, Virgil Green may be the most important tight end for the Broncos to re-sign. Right now, Green is hands down the best run-blocking tight end the Broncos have. And with Gary Kubiak taking the reins as head coach, the Broncos will be better suited to have a versatile blocking tight end to fit into their zone blocking system. Now, the thing that is interesting about Virgil Green is that he is a tremendous athlete who, if given the chance, can be a solid receiving tight end in addition to a blocking machine for the Broncos. When you acknowledge the fact that the Denver Broncos offensive line struggled throughout the 2014 season, it's tough to put a limit on Virgil Green's value as a player heading into 2015. Denver should do whatever it takes to keep him around. The big question is, what the hell should the Broncos do with Julius Too Strong Thomas, Julius Too Easy Thomas, Orange Julius? The too easy answer is to let him go. He's going to command too much money. And the Broncos have too many players to try and re-sign to new contracts, most specifically Demaryius Thomas. Here's what makes the Julius Thomas decision tough. He's a tremendous player when healthy. The Denver Broncos offense was much more effective, especially in the red zone last season when Thomas was healthy. The problem is, Thomas has never played an entire NFL season without suffering some sort of injury. Well, that's not exactly true. It's not some sort of injury. It's a reoccurring ankle injury, left ankle injury, that's been the problem for Thomas since he entered the NFL. The question for the Broncos becomes, is it worth signing Thomas to a long-term contract knowing that his health going forward is a major concern? I don't think it is, and I expect the Broncos to make the same decision. I also believe the Broncos will part ways with Jacob Tamme, leaving them with Green and Jones. If that happens, look for the Broncos to go after a free agent tight end while also targeting someone they can develop in the draft. The current free agent tight end pool is pretty deep. That may change by the time free agency eventually opens up, but right now, there are some nice options out there for the Broncos to consider. Jermaine Gresham from Cincinnati, Jordan Cameron from Cleveland, Charles Clay from Miami, Owen Daniels from Baltimore, Niles Paul from Washington are some of the guys the Broncos could possibly, maybe, probably consider. I think the most likely candidate to be in a Broncos uniform in the 2015 season is Owen Daniels. Daniels is a veteran tight end that would mesh well with Peyton Manning. Despite being 32 years old, Daniels would be an upgrade from Jacob Tamme. And he has a long history with Gary Kubiak. Daniels played in Houston beginning in 2006 and followed Kubiak to Baltimore last season, where he had a very good year, filling in for Dennis Pitta, who only played 3 games last season. Daniels isn't the type of guy who's going to make huge plays from the tight end position. Think of him sort of like a Heath Miller, who will be the type of player Manning would rely on during third down situations to move the chains. This is important, especially considering that Wes Welker is more than likely done in Denver. You gotta have a security blanket tight end, and Daniels is that type of guy. Just a nice warm blanket. The guy I think that would be a decent replacement for Julius Thomas is Charles Clay from Miami. Clay and Thomas are ranked as the 11th and 12th best tight ends in the league in 2014, according to ProFootballFocus.com, with Thomas ranked slightly higher than Clay. I like Clay because, like Thomas, he is a young player. At age 25, he is ready to hit his prime as a tight end over the next few seasons. He's never missed more than 2 games in a season, and last year he outgained Thomas in yards after catch. That's right, yak, 260 to 176. The problem with Clay is the Dolphins are likely to make a hard push to re-sign him before free agency even begins. So I don't even know if he'll be there. But if he is, the Broncos should go after him if they get rid of Julius Thomas. A lot of ifs here, guys. If Clay isn't available and the Broncos don't go with somebody like Daniels, I actually like the upside of Jordan Cameron from Cleveland. Cameron had a down season in 2014 that was marred with injuries. Like Thomas, the Broncos would be taking a risk because of Cameron's injuries, but unlike Thomas, Cameron's injuries seemed to only be a problem last year. Cameron also managed to rack up 80 catches for the Browns in 2013, and to do that in Cleveland is impressive considering they haven't had a good quarterback there since Bernie Kosar. He's a risk, but I think the Broncos can get him at a discount, and I believe he has the dynamic playmaking ability that will be missed if Thomas does in fact leave the Broncos. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Broncos. For more of these videos, go to the Mile High Huddle. Make sure you register with us there. I'm making videos pretty much every week, but we got articles going up every day, and we've got your ass covered during the offseason with everything that's going to be happening to the Denver Broncos. So go to milehighhuddle.com right now. Don't be a little baby bitch. Also subscribe to my channel, That's Good Sports.